there's a lot of not feeling good enough in the world. Not feeling enough. I'm not enough. And I'm, as a Gallup Strength Finders coach, I'm really enjoying helping people identify their natural talents, the natural goodness that is built in them, and really being intentional about building those into strengths for positive impact in the world.
Hello and welcome to the Sunshine Parenting Podcast, where each week we talk about ideas for raising kids who become thriving adults. I'm your host, Audrey Monkey. Here on the podcast, I share my experiences raising 5 kids who currently range in age from 16 to 26 and working with thousands more as a summer camp director over the past 3 decades. I'm the author of Happy Campers, and I frequently do workshops with parents, teachers, and summer camp professionals about social skills, connection, and happiness, topics I researched extensively for my master's in psychology. If you want tools for raising kind, optimistic, self-reliant kids who become thriving adults, you've come to the right place. Hey, Sunshine Parenting listeners, and welcome to episode 164, which is first being released on Friday, November 6th, 2020. This week's One Simple Thing tip came from John Gordon. He suggests that we take a thank you walk. Here's his description. It's simple, it's powerful, and it's a great way to start feeding the positive dog. How does it work? You simply take a walk outside, in a mall, at your office, on a treadmill. While walking, you think about all the things, big and small, that you are grateful for. The research shows you can't be stressed and thankful at the same time. So when you combine gratitude with physical exercise, you give yourself a double boost of positive energy. You flood your brain and body with positive emotions and natural antidepressants that uplift you rather than the stress hormones that drain and slowly kill you. I invite you to join me this week as a simple strategy just to take a thank you walk. If you enjoy these One Simple Thing tips, as well as my interviews I share here at Sunshine Parenting, I invite you to join me as a podcast supporter over at Patreon. Check the link in the show notes and join my squad to have access to bonus podcast episodes and some exclusive resources and posts that I create just for my Patreon squad. This week on the podcast, I'm bringing you my conversation with Sara Kuljis, who is a camp professional and Gallup strength coach, as well as a dear friend of mine who has been on the podcast many times talking about different topics related to raising kids who become thriving adults. All right. I am so excited to have my friend Sara back on the podcast today. Hi, Sara.
Hi, Audrey.
So this month is the month of Thanksgiving, and we all like to focus on gratitude all year, but this month in particular kind of really brings it home. So today, Sara and I are going to talk about gratitude and how we practice gratitude at summer camp and how we can bring some of those practices home. So we're hoping to give you some good ideas for just having a more grateful family. So Sara, just talk about some of your thoughts on gratitude.
Well, it's probably one of my favorite character qualities. And if any of us think about people who've impacted our lives greatly, probably gratitude is among their finest qualities. So it's something that I so appreciate the positivity and the infusion of that goodness into my life from those who are grateful folks. At camp, gratitude plays a very big role in how we want to shape our campers. And I think probably the main thing that comes to mind, Audrey, is that gratitude is a muscle. It's not something that happens on its own very often, but rather it's a quality or a muscle that's been practiced. It's been cultivated. It's been reinforced and modeled. And I think when we are intentional, whether with little tiny children or even young adults, we see their level of gratitude, their spontaneous gratitude, their muscle of gratitude grow over the course of a summer. And it's never too late to start exercising that muscle. One thing in particular I've been thinking about more recently is, as a habit, something precedes the habit. What we notice, how we feel and think, causes that habit to be enriched. So, for example, what we found with our campers, when they know all the names and faces of the maintenance staff, and they've played ping pong with them and ate lunch with them, and then when they see them cleaning their bathrooms, their gratitude to their now friends soars. And it's not uncommon during free time to see campers making posters that say, "Thank you for cleaning our bathrooms today. Thank you for washing our dishes," because they're now thanking friends. And there was some thought and feeling that happened before that beautiful, authentic gratitude was shared. I'm sure you see the same at camp too.
Well, I love that. And I think one of the things that you talked about before we started recording that I want you to share again is how you also practice that same habit of recognizing and thanking service people just throughout your day. So why don't you share about that? Because I think that that really ties in nicely, this practice that you have at camp that you've also brought home to keep up that gratitude muscle all year long.
Oh, sure. This happened a couple years ago, and it dawned on me that how much our children watch us treat those who serve us. The person who bags my groceries, the person who refills my iced tea at a restaurant, or gives me change at the drugstore. And I started, every time someone serves me, I've started loud and clear enough to say thank you, but I've also added my friend at the end of that sentence. So when my iced tea is filled, I will say, "Thank you for the iced tea, my friend. Thank you for bagging my groceries, my friend. Thanks for letting me in line, my friend." Because I wanted my own kids to see that I considered these people serving me as part of my community, part of my world, and that I respected and cared for them, whether or not I knew their name. I think it just connects us more, and my hope is that it causes us to treat everyone with the same deference and care and respect.
Oh, I love that so much. And then I was thinking as you were talking, you know, in some settings, people are wearing name tags. Mm-hmm. And so if they happen to be, if you, or you happen to remember their name, like I haven't been doing the my friend thing, but I have been, like, when someone says, "Hi, my name is Gina. I'm going to be serving you today." I'll say, "Oh, hi, Gina." Like, I try to, that's part of the friendship skills that I always think about, is saying the name after you hear it to try to help remember it. But how amazing would that be if your kids hear you, like if you remember your server's name, for example, and they pour you some more iced tea and you say, "Oh, thank you, Gina." I think that would be really cool too. Like, cause everyone loves hearing their names, and it's like adds that human element to it too.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And another really important life skill.
Yeah. So I just thought of that because you always spur on so many good ideas for me. The other thing that I have not done, my friend, I think that's, I don't know if it might be hard for me. That's so you. I don't know if I can do that. But what I have been doing, it's so funny, is making eye contact with the person pouring my water. Cause usually that's like a bus person or somebody. And I'll just, like, they pour my water and I look up at them, eye contact, and say, "Thank you." Like, so that it's like, again, I'm not just sitting, you're a human, you're helping me drink water. I don't know. I love that. And what a simple way for us all to go through life expressing our thanks for these people around us who, you know, make our life easier, are making our meal better, or whatever it is that's happening. I love that. That is so great. Okay. So that is such a fun way that you, like, have taken home kind of your gratitude building muscle that you've practiced at camp, and you also do it with your kids and are modeling for them. There's another activity that I know we've talked about in previous podcast episodes, but it's just so good that we're going to talk about it again. Talk about your flower ceremony at camp and how that is another way that you're really promoting this character trait of gratitude in your campers.
Oh, sure. It's called Flower Sunday. It's a favorite tradition at camp that we do every session. Our sessions are 2 weeks long. And in the middle of the session, we have chapel. And then following chapel, every camper and staff member is handed a daisy. They're just a simple daisy. And we invite campers and staff to go to each other and share an affirmation or a gratitude. The goal being that I keep handing away my flower, but then someone would come and hand me theirs. And as I receive one, then I give one out. And we hope we are empty-handed by the end of the sharing time. But it's wonderful to go to a new friend I met on the bus, for example, and say, thank you for being my first friend. I was so nervous on the drive up, and you told me what to expect and made me feel safer. Or for a camper, it's not unusual for a camper to go to a staff member and say, thank you for making me feel like I belong. Thank you for listening. I really enjoy going to campers who I can count on to be community builders and to say thank you, that you are always an includer of anybody who's different or the same, and I can count on you to make camp a better place. So it's an affirmation and a gratitude tied up together, and having a token, I think tokens are really powerful, whether you're passing a leaf or a rock or a button or a flower. Kids, well, humans love tokens. It's a memory maker. How do you guys, I'm sure at Gold Arrow, you have these built-in traditions of gratitude and affirmation as well. What do those look like?
Well, I love your idea of having it be at like a specific day and time. And I love the token idea. Really the main thing we do is our wows. And it's this, it's like basically a big gratitude bulletin board. And we have these little wow notepads, and it's just a chance to, again, give affirmations, give thanks, acknowledge that we see great things happening, and anyone can fill them out, the campers, the staff. When you were talking about your service people, a lot of ours will be to the kitchen staff. And what happens is that the board gets filled up every day with these wows. And then at our morning assembly, a few of them get read aloud, like maybe 3 to 5 are read aloud. And then all of them go in people's mail. So it ends up, everyone likes getting mail. So it's like, it is a token. It's like a handwritten note, basically. And you see them everywhere, like in the kitchen, when they get them, they put them on their own bulletin board in the kitchen. And it's just a really nice way to build each other up and express thanks. What, again, as you were talking though, what I started thinking, I love wows, and we actually encourage our families to try to do something like that at home. But what I was thinking is, what if, Thanksgiving's on a Thursday, if we just had in our families like a tradition called Thankful Thursday, and did one thing on Thursdays that's of thanks to another person, whether it's a text or a note or a phone call. How great would that be if just once a week we make it a tradition in our families to express thanks?
I love the regularness of it, that habit, like a Throwback Thursday photo post, Thankful Thursday. Who haven't I thanked in a while? I think it would really challenge us to broaden, the list of those that we notice and thank. I love the regularness of it.
So I haven't done that. I just thought of it, but I just thinking, even if, and again, that could be a thing that like you and we can model that for our kids. We could always just say, hey, I'm going to try to do this, maybe just for the month of November, maybe all year it will start being a habit. I really want you to share about something that we both have learned about in our study of psychology and well-being, is this idea of sharing every day 3 good things. I'd like you to share again how you've really made that just a huge habit of yours over the last couple of years.
Well, sure. You and I were both at a conference when we heard about the research behind gratitude, and the research finding that for those who express gratitude even right before bedtime, even if it was a hard day, even if it was a boring day, just to name a few things that we are grateful for, our sleep is deeper and better, our view of life and optimism is stronger, our well-being is rejuvenated. And the speaker challenged each of us to, just for a couple weeks with some friends, at the end of the day, share 3 good things that we were grateful for of the day. I picked 3 friends who were pals close by in my 20s, and now we live all over the United States. And we just texted each other 3 good things every evening for 2 weeks. Well, it's been 2 years, and we still, every so often one of us will miss a night, but we just list off our 3, sometimes 5, sometimes it's only 2 because we're digging deep, good things with each other. And what it has done to our friendship, to help us know where each other's at, to help us know how to encourage each other, celebrate with each other, pray for each other. It's been amazing. But like, I'll climb into bed at night and go, oh, I forgot. I need to really think about what are my good things of the day. And even in a hard day, my muscle to find goodness has really been strengthened. And the impact has been great. I wish we had published these 3 good things each day, because it's really been a story of our journey with our families and our work in the last couple years. But I would urge anybody to grab a friend, and and if that isn't practical, I need the accountability. I need friends to say, hey, what are your 3 good things? But you could even do it in a journal, and what a precious thing even to share that with your kids in time, that they would see, wow, this is what mom is grateful for. This is what dad is grateful for. That would be something special.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I really want to copy you. I haven't done it, but I will say my daughter is doing it based on our, the podcast episode we did about friendship. And you shared about that. She has, I don't know if it's 1 or 2 friends from college, because she graduated from college 2 years ago, and they're in different parts of the country. They are sharing their 3 good things.
Oh, I'm so glad. That's wonderful. Good for them.
I love that connection point, and I think that's great. We've done in our family, when I had more kids at home, we're kind of dwindling here, but when there were more of us here, we would do that. We switched from like highs and lows to 3 good things as our dinner table sharing, because I couldn't get them. I had us all make these really cool like gratitude journals, but just as a side note, boys are not quite as into journaling. So the journals really resonated with my daughters, the boys, not so much. So gratitude journals kind of fizzled. We all had our own, and for a while we tried to do them, but it really didn't work out. So the verbal sharing of 3 good things is such a great practice with kids, whether it's at dinner or at bedtime. And like you said, even for kids, or especially for kids who are going through kind of a down time, what a great reframing of, you know what, even on the worst day, there were a couple good things today. Something went well.
Yes. There's a sort of a silver lining somewhere.
Yes.
I just remembered another gratitude practice that I had forgotten to mention earlier. Audrey, I have a friend who has little slips of the really pretty paper that she keeps near her Christmas tree over the holidays. And whoever comes over, whether it's family or friends, they write something they're thankful for, and they clip it with these cute little clips to the Christmas tree. And so the Christmas tree has all these ornaments and lights, but then over the weeks, there's this little gold paper with these little, sometimes it's just a name, sometimes it's an accomplishment, sometimes it's just this, so grateful that I, got a half day at work, or anyway. So the tree is really cute. It's covered with these little gratitude slips. Isn't that brilliant?
Oh my gosh, I love it. And the other thing I love about it, I've done that same kind of thing, like a temporary thing, sometimes work better. Cause you know how, like I've done around Thanksgiving, we have a bulletin board in our kitchen, and I just take everything off of it. And I had my husband, who's very artsy, create these little cards. They were like gratitude cards, and people could just write one thing on them and then stick them on the board. But it's one of those things that if you tried to do it all year, it would just kind of peter out. And it would for me anyway, because I just lack that consistency, and so do the rest of my family. But just for like around Thanksgiving or that week, it totally works to just have these things. And of course, with kids who weren't like as naturally wanting to do it, I would just say, okay, everybody just do one tonight, just let's just put one up. But so I like that. I love that Christmas tree idea, or something that's more of a short-term thing, because you can stay more focused on it and I think be a little more intentional than if you're trying to make it this all the time thing.
Actually, I think that's a really good idea. We all often will get overwhelmed by something that's a 5-year project. But again, we're talking about ways of building muscle for gratitude in ourselves and in our kids, and short bits and pieces work.
Yes. So I think, yes, I love this. So let's just go back to the journaling thing. I actually, again, not 100% consistent, but I've actually switched. I do a little morning journal time most mornings, and I've switched to putting my 3 gratitudes first. I just put 1, 2, 3, because I wasn't really being good about, I don't have a texting friend or anything like that right now. And that's been a good way too. I think whatever way people can do it that works for them is so important. And I think that modeling that you talked about, we cannot raise grateful kids if we're not promoting our own gratitude, and all of us can get better. I mean, I'm already just inspired by listening to you of like things that I want to do more of to practice, to really grow my own gratitude muscle.
Some of us are wired that way. We have a positivity that just bubbles out. And then some of us do have to work hard at keeping our eyes on the cup half full. I saw a card recently that said some people are a cup half empty. Some people are, when they see a cup, it's half full. I see a cup and say, who isn't cleaning up the dishes? And I appreciate that, because I can be so task focused. I could have bought a dozen of those. I can get so task focused that I actually get off track. And so some of us have to work harder, but oh my goodness, the benefits have been a delight.
Yeah, see, that really hit home for me. That's one of my problems is I tend to be I want to work on my gratitude. I'm going to write down these 3 things, but it's really should be more about the feeling the gratitude. You know what I mean? So it's like taking the task out of it and making it not about sending the text to my friends and not about writing in my journal, but about just taking a moment to feel thankful.
Yes. And to see these little moments of like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful this very small thing happened. It actually impacted my day, or I was so thoughtful, this little thing. And a lot of times at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, I was going to remember that little thing and it's gone now. But at least in that moment, it brightened my day. It made it better. And it made me softer and kinder to those around me.
I love that. Okay. So I think we really need to share. I love the Jamie Evans gratitude jar, reading it on New Year's Eve. So do you want to talk about their family's practice of what they did for gratitude?
I actually don't remember all the details. I remember we have talked about it numerous times, and I always think of him and their family when we think about gratitude jars.
Yeah.
But why don't you go ahead and share the details?
Well, what I remember from it is they had a jar, and just on scraps of paper throughout the year, and however often they wanted, something they were grateful for, a person, an event, whatever, they would throw it in the jar, and the jar would just grow all year. And on New Year's Eve, they would pull each one out and read them. And it was like gratitude for this whole year. And oh my gosh, that just like, I love that. I don't know how many families do that, but what a great way to remember a year by focusing on all the good things that you sometimes, you forget, like, because sometimes what rises to the top is, the illness or the death of a loved one or something really bad that kind of dominated our thoughts for that year. But to take that time and start the new year reflecting on all those great things. So I love that. I thought we should do that. I thought we should share about that just because I think it's a nice honor to our good friend who really had wonderful ideas. Another thing that I wanted to just share before we close off, and if you have any other ideas, you can also add them, but something that we've done at Thanksgiving that's been a really fun activity, regardless of who's with us. We generally have, sometimes we have, it's our family, but usually we have some other people around. This year, I'm super excited. My son is bringing home a friend from Nigeria who it's too far for him to travel home. So we get an international friend here for Thanksgiving. So what we do is somebody, usually my daughter Charlotte, will create either cards or sheets of paper that are kind of in Thanksgiving-ish colors with each person's name on them with some like stickers or decor. And basically, we just do warm fuzzies for people. We either pass them around or we walk around the table and we write things we're thankful for about that person. And, you know, I save every single one. Love them so much. I will put, I'll try to find some photos of them and add them to this post because I think it's a really simple gratitude activity. And because it's Thanksgiving, you can usually get people on board for trying something that you don't normally do.
I love that because that's something you can save and read on those days when things are getting crunchy, right? I just have to be reminded. I think something else I would add, and I think I'm going to do it this Thanksgiving. A lot of times we go around the table. What are you thankful for this year? And whether it's a big group or a small group, and everybody always says friends and family, which I'm so grateful. It's the human beings that make our life worthwhile. But sometimes we're like, okay, besides the friends and family, what else? I'm thinking this summer or this Thanksgiving of adding, because so many youth and young adults, we see it at camp, and I am conscious of it with my kids and their friends. There's a lot of not feeling good enough in the world. Not feeling enough. I'm not enough. And I'm, as a Gallup Strength Finders coach, I'm really enjoying helping people identify their natural talents, the natural goodness that is built in them, and really being intentional about building those into strengths for positive impact in the world. And so I think I'm going to add, what is one thing you're thankful for in you? That you are naturally built with, that God has naturally gifted you with, a talent, a perspective. What's one thing in you you're grateful for? Because I am just continually brokenhearted by how many young people are expressing that they just never feel good enough. And then that's a tragedy because we want us to see our unique and amazing gifts, and so that we use them well for others. And so anyway, I'm going to add that little bit, I think, this year.
Oh, I love that. And that's actually, especially good. That's something we did at camp with our teenage girl campers, because it's very hard for people to say things they like about themselves or to even accept compliments about their strengths. It seems especially hard for women and young women. And so we actually did that, and it was very moving for the girls to be able to say, and it was about character strengths. One thing I like about myself is my ability to go into a room and meet new people, my being outgoing or whatever it is, they could share, and wow. And then to get that affirmation from the rest of the group. So yes, I love that idea. I also was thinking when you were saying the going around the table, because I think a lot of people do that Thanksgiving, friends and family. I wonder if the rule can be, it has to be specific. You know what I mean? It could be, it could be something about your family or a friend, but be specific. I'll just practice on you, Sara. I am so thankful for you, my friend Sara, because I feel like it's like our brains and our souls are somehow connected. You kind of think the same way I do. We make each other think better. And it's I don't know how to explain that, but I get better ideas talking to you than sitting by myself.
We are synergistic sisters. That is a true thing. It is. Oh, I really like that, especially being real precise. I can imagine, for example, my mom hearing from her grandkids, Grandma, I'm thankful for you. But Grandma, I'm thankful for that journal you wrote when I was little, and you, because Mom was running too fast, but you wrote down all my little stages of development, Grandma, and I still have it under my bed. Like, I think that would be amazing for grandma to hear the specificness. Ooh, I'm going to steal that, Audrey.
Yeah, for sure. And then I think not only that, it can be a specific thing like that, like a journal, or it can be, you know what I love about you, John, is your sense of humor. Oh my gosh, you make me laugh. Yeah. Like every day this year, you've made me laugh with your sense of humor, and you bring that to our family, and it's so awesome. So whether it's like using your strengths thing and really pointing it out to them, or a specific thing they did that you still remember months later, something that they did for you. Oh, I love it. I'm so excited.
I have a feeling I'm going to make my family sit around the Thanksgiving table longer than usual because we have all these things to share now. This is going to be good.
So many activities. Just tell everybody, hey guys, just wear your pajamas and just like, yes. we're here all night.
It's awesome. I love it. I love it.
Okay. Wait, go ahead.
I also would encourage all of us, children have really good ideas themselves. And asking your kids, no matter what age, how do you want to show thankfulness this holiday or even once a month? I bet our little people would come up with some super sincere ways of thinking, and we might be surprised.
Oh my gosh, I agree. Kids always come up with these things that are so amazing, and often we think that we have all the ideas when they actually have better ideas because they come from this perspective of just more innocence, less jaded by the world. I don't know. I love that. Wow. So true. Okay. So just to close out, we are going to add some more resources. We're both going to kind of compile some of our favorite books, ideas. I even have a Pinterest board. I remember about gratitude. I'll put all those things in the show notes, but just before we finish off, is there any book or resource or something that you particularly like as it pertains to gratitude? Is there something that you've found helpful as you've tried to promote more gratitude at camp or in your family?
There certainly are a few books that will come to mind. We can post those, but it just dawned on me that I actually sometimes read through the Psalms in the Old Testament, and sometimes when I don't have the words around my gratitudes, borrowing other people's words, borrowing the Psalms words, or borrowing a friend's words sometimes helps me frame those things, and that's been very moving and important for me.
I love that. What a great idea. Well, I, of course, and we've talked about it before, and I think I've reread it. I've only read it twice, but the 1,000 Gifts book by Ann Voskamp, not only is it a good reminder to keep track or to remember things you're grateful for, but it also tells the story of like the journey from how much gratitude can change how you feel.
Yes. And that it sometimes takes a little bit of time, but it does shape us. It does change us.
So, well, I have just loved talking gratitude with you. It's been so much fun, Sara, as always. So thank you for sharing your wisdom on this topic.
Oh, my pleasure. It's been a blast. And I hope that your listeners might share some of their ideas too. I think we can always keep learning from each other.
Yes, for sure. So if you're watching this or listening to this, write your comments, share your ideas so that we can share with the world more ideas of ways we can all be more grateful people. So thanks for being on, Sara, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Ditto. Back at ya. Until next time.
As always, you can find notes, links, and other resources related to today's conversation by visiting my website at sunshine-parenting.com. While you're there, be sure to sign up for my email list so that you don't miss out on any of the great resources I have available for raising thriving kids. If you enjoyed this episode of the podcast and my conversation with Sara, I encourage you to check out our other episodes that we've done together, as well as our brand new Raise Thriving Kids online course that we've developed to share some of our favorite parenting strategies that we've both learned over our many years at camp and raising our own kids. Check out the link in the show notes if you're interested in hearing more of Sara and my teaching. Sticking with this week's podcast episode theme of gratitude, my favorite this week is a book I read several years ago by John Kralik called 365 Thank Yous: The Year a Simple Act of Daily Gratitude Changed My Life. If you're looking for an inspiring story about how a simple act of gratitude has the power to turn a life around, I encourage you to pick up or listen to the audio version of 365 Thank Yous. Let's end with a quote from my book, Happy Campers. Creating a close and connected family culture that promotes positive, lifelong relationships is the most important thing we can do for our children. Warm and supportive parent-child relationships, a sense of being loved, and help and support from family members serve as protective factors and increase children's resilience and their ability to face many of life's inevitable challenges. I'm Audrey Monkey. Thank you for joining me for the Sunshine Parenting Podcast. Join me again next week for more conversations about raising kids who become thriving adults.